think it was our might have been our second. Yeah, it was our second one.
Welcome everyone to episode 6 of the Friendly Skies podcast. I'm your pilot and host Matt, with my co-host Glenn, and we're joined by Leah and 2 other guests, which we're very excited to talk to. Glenn, if you'd like to make the introductions.
Yeah, so the first is Lexi Barretto, and Lexi was a portrait artist on a Shadowrun Returns mod project that we worked on together.
Cool.
She is a Guild Wars 2 player who recently returned, and I think that's what we're going to be talking a bit about today. The other person I brought in is Annie VanderMeer, and Annie is probably best known for being in my Marvel Puzzle Quest alliance. So we have,
Awesome.
but she's also done some other things. She's a lead designer on Guild Wars 2.
I wish
What?
I could say lead. I'm a senior designer, but
That doesn't matter. That's amazing.
Is that for real?
yes.
Oh my god!
Glenn, this is the best birthday present ever.
That's a real job title, senior.
Wow. Glenn,
Amazing!
Glenn, you just got a raise. You just got a
What
raise, man.
percentage of $0 am I getting an uptick on?
Well,
for that?
5% of 0. How does that sound?
I feel 100% more cool now. Yeah.
You should.
Okay. So we've dragged the we've talked for a bit before this, and we've dragged this on, and I'm still testing my audio because I'm probably blasting through the recording. Okay. So we are set. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator. Lexi and Annie have Annie, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm bad with names. Have never seen Microsoft Flight Simulator, so there you go. It's more than a globe
You would expect planes, but
and
this
less
is
than a
it.
plane. No, there will be a plane. So we're going to, if it's okay with you, we're going to start from Seattle, because Glenn told me you know Seattle.
Pretty well, yeah.
Okay, great. So we're going to start from parking, because that's always fun to see me taxi. And we're going to kick this off.
Are each of these blue things individual airports?
Yes. Airports, so this is Seattle, and yeah, we have Tacoma City there. Maybe we'll ask Annie where to fly to, but let me see the other airport.
Annie's done some traveling. Where do you usually take off from, Annie?
SeaTac. So the Seattle Tacoma. I'm wondering if they actually have. Oh, they do have Boeing Field up there, which is not really like a commercial thing.
Right.
Kind of also wonder if they have Payne Field, which is a little to the north. Which is
Rob hates Xbox. I'm not sure what that is. Okay.
well. Okay, there's Payne Field, but yeah, I don't. Rob hates Xbox is not a airport I'm familiar with.
Someone hack this?
I don't know what this is the problem when you involve humans in these games. These green planes are humans, which is going to be.
I saw that on Nintendo's map. I don't own a Nintendo console, but I think it was on the Wii. There was like some sort of like global map function to that, and somebody definitely named their own island, and it was not appropriate.
Usually, they're very good at catching stuff like that. I almost want to give kudos to somebody.
For going under the radar.
Yeah, for getting one past the goalie, so to speak, because my usual handle is Murder Blonde. Because it's
Yes.
I am blonde and murderous. But Nintendo doesn't like the word murder in names. But I mean, gosh, how dare they?
Well, yeah,
They're probably owned by Disney, right? Everything's owned by Disney or something? I have no idea.
I just
Can't
found
swear.
out. I just found out I'm owned by Disney. Kind
Oh. No swearing then.
You can swear on this.
Yeah, you can.
I was about to ask.
There we go. Live weather. This is not right. So Microsoft has some bugs, and I did reinstall Glenn, even though I didn't have to, but it was because of Steam. But it looks like now it's all of a sudden daytime, so that's good.
Well, the sun's still up here in
it is?
Seattle. Yeah,
What time is it over there?
6:41.
Oh,
Accurate.
That's accurate now. It's this freaking game. Okay. Let's do this. All right, we're gonna load up. We're gonna fly into Cessna 172. Do you all know what that is?
Itty bitty.
Nope.
You done some traveling,
Plane.
but only in big planes, right?
I have never flown in a Cessna. That's a degree of bravery I don't have.
Well, you're going to be a lot braver now flying with us here and with me at the helm. This is going to get scary.
I got a friend who's afraid of flying, and I can't wait to have him on.
I'm afraid of flying. I didn't fly for a full 10 years. What?
That's Leah, right? I can't. Now there's 3 girls on the podcast. I can't tell who's who.
You don't know my voice. I'm your girlfriend. We live together.
It's so embarrassing.
Wow.
I'm gonna edit that part out. No.
Please don't leave it in.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you. I said that. Yeah, you with virtual reality, you get really dizzy. So you might get a little dizzy on this flight.
Oh yeah, I have vertigo, but no, we've done this before, and it's so fun. It's great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people use stuff like this for therapeutic use, right? Like if you're afraid of flying, things like virtual reality. Because I remember reading when the Oculus was first taking off that they had a program for standing on a ledge of a building.
Oh man!
For people who have difficulty with heights, so it was
they put a little plank under your feet, so it feels super, super cool.
It was elective, just to be clear. People didn't have to do this, but
otherwise that would be torture.
No, this is good though, because I could do a VR public speaking. I could do a VR, box full of spiders. This is going to help me with all my fears.
Our next guest has an arachnophobia thing. Maybe we should stream Grounded for that one.
Oh, I'll fly. We're gonna definitely taxi through the city of Seattle. Yeah.
Microsoft Flight Simulator or Grand Theft Auto?
Both.
Hey, if we want to make it a 2-parter, we just jump on Euro Truck Simulator and we'll just drive through Seattle.
Euro Truck Simulator.
Oh, not Euro Truck Simulator, American Truck Simulator. I say Euro Truck because so many more people play that.
I feel like a lot of people play. No, never mind. This is not a truck simulator podcast. Not another one. Okay, so Glenn,
how many of these are there?
Yeah.
What? A
you
podcast?
Said not another one of those.
Well, I'm pretty sure people out there.
Podcasts.
I'm pretty sure people are good with one American Truck Simulator podcast. So we're at Seattle here, and we're gonna push back. So Glenn, you brought Annie and Lexi on. You said that Annie was let me release the parking brakes because I know how to fly this. Senior designer. We're gonna call you lead designer though.
Annie can speak for herself.
I will not be. That's a presumption, sir. But yeah, it's senior.
Just because you told us before I recorded,
And you were on the project in the early days and in the later days, but not in between. Do I have that right?
Correct. Yeah, I joined ArenaNet a ways after I moved up to Seattle in 2009. And shipped Guild Wars 2 and part of the first season of the Living Worlds. So I was at ArenaNet from 2009 to 2013, and I just came back in December. Hell of a time to come back.
Yeah.
I've been helping ship episodes 3 and 4 of the current Living World, which is the Icebrood Saga, and I'm lucky enough to be working on the expansion, which I probably can't answer any questions about other than to be like, yep, it's in Cantha. Yay!
It's like she's working on a Marvel movie. She's going to get sued if she says anything to us.
Listen, we only have one question only. Why do we get one shot by Weavers in World v World?
One shot by what now?
Weavers. Or whoever the elementalist is with the elite specializations that do 40,000 damage in one shot.
Oh man, I cannot speak to any PvP sort of stuff. I get straight scared away by that. I mean, here's the weird thing, and one of my colleagues just said it today, which was there's an expectation that devs are really good at playing our games. We're not. We're good at
you're busy coding
it or making it. But when we're testing it, we're using all of the hacks and stuff to start with to just make sure that it functions, and then we play through and balance and whatnot, and QA gives us good stuff. But I don't run with an ArenaNet tag, and I haven't run with one on my character from the beginning because I was so afraid of people seeing me just absolutely suck at jumping puzzles and be like, man, and people at ArenaNet don't know how to play their game. And it's like, no, I just suck at jumping puzzles.
Well, let
I'm
me.
making a
They're
norm.
hard. They're very hard.
Really difficult.
You really made Leah's life at the beginning when she started playing very, very difficult and sad. But I do want to say that the puzzles, the jumping puzzles, are extremely unique and awesome in terms of the world of MMOs. You don't see those too often in other MMOs, actual skill-based type stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was cool because there are certain memorable elements about the game that were actually. I mean, there's obviously the whole like careful ones built into the game itself. The reason I really came to like it and to want to work on it is that I was on the personal story team and the sort of starter release, and putting the RPG back into MMORPG was an internal thing, and making it so whenever you see another player, it's a good thing, not except I guess in WoW. In the standard game in PvE, it's like, oh boy, hi new person, and not how are they going to screw up my day. So that was always, and having a no griefing kind of thing has been in since the beginning. But stuff like the vistas and the jumping puzzles were extremely late additions that were sort of like, oh, we can do this thing. Oh, like let's get it in. Let's get it in for launch. And how much the jumping puzzles have become more and more of a complex thing, where it was a sort of thing where certain people on the team just really loved them. Especially, I think the most fiendish ones, at least in a certain timeline, were made by Josh Foreman. Like the Mad King Clock Tower, I think, is probably one of his most infamous ones. And if you're trying to get a vista in certain areas and you're like, there's a massive like difference in difficulty of getting like a vista in one place versus like the Caledon Forest one, like that's Josh. Like I would be jumping through there and I'd be like, damn it, Josh. This is just a vista. This is too hard.
No, I'm going to say that next time. Next time I'm going to say, damn it, Josh. I don't even know him.
I don't even think that we finished the Mad King's Tower, and I want to say maybe I did, Leah, but I think we both gave up on it.
Because it's fiendish. He made incredible, like really amazing to look at jumping puzzles, and I'd watch other people play through them and be like, oh, that's really neat. Like I tried my hand at the Winter's Day one and got like maybe on my best run like a quarter of the way through, and I'm like, well, that was fun. I'm not great at this. Like I need like a basically, for me to be good at jumping stuff, I need the tactility of a gamepad. So I suck at them. But I've resolved to try to get better at them.
See, my technique is I beg every mesmer on the map to put a portal up for me, and then I just wait for them to do that.
Yeah, that's advanced. I don't even know what that means.
Pretty successful thus far, especially when
no. I was just gonna say the portal is Leah. That's when they teleported us and glitched us, because people are a-holes sometimes.
I didn't know they were mesmers though. So the people, the leader guys that have to buy their leadership are mesmers. Is that what that is?
Oh, it's the commanders are the ones with the
commanders
special tag.
Oh, okay. I've always wanted to do that, but I'm still learning. I'm still getting good at it.
Now, when were these jumping puzzles introduced to the game? Because I, full disclosure, I speak purely from ignorance here as someone who played Guild Wars 2 when basically like in the early days.
Oh yeah, there were in with ship.
They were okay.
They weren't as common. I remember there's one. Of course, my brain is just like I just keep thinking of like the internal names for areas, and it's like nobody will know what you mean, Annie. Don't like in one of the Char starting areas, if not like the first map, but one of the ones over in Ascalon. I remember that there was that was an actually like fun and accessible one where you jump through a bunch of Ascalonian ruins to get to stuff.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. It's in the Asa Plateau, I think.
That sounds like it. And I know that there's one to get you to an area where there's like a secret strawberry patch. like a little char that's just like a little cub that got in there. It's just like, my strawberries, and it's really cute because I love the char, and their little kids are just the most adorable.
But there is a jumping puzzle that's sort of hard in Ascalonian area. That one with the big wall that you have to climb up through the tall wall. When was that made? That was at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that one was at the beginning.
That wasn't so nice.
Yeah, there's temporary ones that are put in with like holiday content, like the Mad King's Clock Tower and the Winter's Day one, and then just as new areas have been introduced in the game, new ones get put in. Like I worked on Lost Shores, which was actually the first Living World update. Like that wasn't a holiday, and that was the one that introduced South Sun, and there were 2 jumping puzzles there. One that was actually that had like I think stuff like jets of water and stuff like and the crumbling rocks, like really complicated stuff to get you up a cliff. And then there was my super easy one that I just sort of kind of put one in near the ruins on the sort of pleasant side of the island on the left side, I should say the west side. That was like, this barely counts as a jumping puzzle. I think it's called like a work in progress or something like that, or under construction. That's it. But yeah, it's, I mean, like now you just get a springer, you can just be like, boing, I got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Leah and I don't want to brag or anything, but we got our Griffin mounts. I paid for hers because I'm a good boyfriend,
Well, I did have some gold. Okay,
you
I
did.
Contributed.
Okay, you did. I just want to look impressive with all the gold that I sold all my Mystic coins for. But but you could get to so many of most of the areas in the regular game now with your Springer and your Griffin. Mm-hmm. And also, and this might be a question for Lexi, because Lexi, as players, not senior designers, we may know more about the game. The sky scale. Do you have that? Is that better than the Griffin? Like.
Okay, wow! Don't even get me started on that one. That has been a work in progress of like 4 months. I like will pick it up and be like, man, I should really start finding those eggs again, and then I'll just like go down a rabbit hole, like maybe like the meta event is going on, and then come back in like 2 days. I'm like, man, I should really do those eggs again, and I just don't do it. It's been such a hassle. Like,
are you talking about the Griffin or the sky scale? Or is that this? Oh, the sky scale is the Griffin. I'm sorry. I'm talking about the dragon, right? The other one. The one I don't
like
have.
There's 2 different flying mounts, I believe.
Yeah.
You kind of glide down, if I'm correct, and then the sky scale is the one where you can actually like go up.
Right. Okay, that's the difference, I guess. But I agree, those eggs were terrible. Like, it was terrible.
Does Guild Wars 2
a slog?
Does Guild Wars 2 cycle content in and out when it comes to things like mounts? Or is it always available to everyone all the time?
I can't 100% speak 100% to that, but I'm pretty sure everything stays in.
Okay. Because that was an issue I had with Warcraft, where I played to like level 50 and there was a level 60 mount that I wanted. Mm-hmm. And then I took a 1 month off, and when I came back, they had discontinued it.
Yeah, I know that there's like special mount skins and stuff like that. Yeah, that can be put up for sale sometimes, and then will go out of the gem store for a while. But I think, I mean, because outfits come and go, but they're usually, I don't think they're ever just gone. I think it's just a sort of situation where
the mounts are part of the mechanics of the game. Like, they all serve a purpose. Like, the Sand Jackal serve a purpose for a particular area that you need to do, which I'm still weighing if I want to spend 40 gold on. The Griffin was just a nice to have, and me feeling more superior over other people, because I never, feel like that in games sometimes. So yeah. Annie, this is Seattle, right? Are we in the right place?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm actually, and there's a Space Needle, which is not visible from every single place in the city, as every single movie would have you believe.
Do they digitally insert it sometimes, just to like make it seem like it matches?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, it's really, and in games too, they're just like, boop, there it is. The thing is, actually, the Space Needle is owned by a private company, and if you like want it in your game, you actually need to pay them for it.
Wow.
Like franchise?
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
Like it's owned by, I forget the name of the family. I think it's the Wright family or something. It's skipping my mind for right now. But yeah, you have to pay basically likeness rights for it. Like there's a reason it's not appearing in a certain game that's going to be set in Seattle. It's coming out sometime. But yeah, there's lots of ways to sort of get around it. And the main thing is anybody who lives in Seattle will probably tell you the same thing I did, where it's just like, it's not visible from everywhere. You could do something completely set in Seattle that still has a Seattle feel without being like, look, there's our weird building. Check it out. Oh my god, I'm actually curious if the viaduct's still there.
Oh, don't worry, we're gonna get real close to it right now.
Oh my god.
This is intense.
Yeah, this is
This is a pretty good representation, except for the wheel that just looks all jacked up there.
Except for the roads that look like The Last of Us right now. Look at this place. What is going on?
Well, so-
Why are there trucks flying down? Go ahead,
I mean,
Glenn.
maybe everybody here already knows this, but just to make it clear, this is all satellite information, right? So we're actually not, it's not like game assets, although they do create some game assets.
Okay,
Right.
that would
They
explain.
do. Yeah, it's they use AI with the map data, and like Glenn said, certain parts they probably go in and handcraft some buildings, some landmarks, but
Yeah, like you just saw like, see the difference between like the top of this building we're passing by and the, whatever it was, a bridge or something that we passed
Yeah,
by
it kind of
earlier
looked
where
like
you
it was just, you know what the copy tool is in Photoshop?
Yeah.
yeah.
It kind of just looked like someone did that over and over again. But then some of the
If you
other
can
ones,
see, if you can see between beams, it's probably handmade stuff. But this is one people complain about a lot. The dock, the dock area. These things
Ooh,
are
that's close.
those look awesome. What are you talking about?
yeah, why are they complaining?
Who are these
Yeah.
people? Point them to me, Glenn.
they're gone now. I took care of it.
Okay, good. I mean, please, I could take you to some places that look way worse in this game than those docks right now. I mean, it looks like the apocalypse hit it and full 4 nuclear bombs.
Yeah, well, the cranes. I mean, the crane.
I mean, the Ferris wheel looks a little rough up there.
Yeah, well, they had the same issue where there's no space between beams. It's all filled in.
Oh, that's true, because when I tried to fly under a bridge, I crashed against nothing.
But
Because-
we did pass by something that had space between beams. So that's kind of like how you can discern what people actually made by hand and what's coming in through Bing.
Right. And first of all, they use Bing. That's a problem.
Of course
Right.
they did.
But
Right?
Oh.
Okay. So I'm
Stuttered for me for a second there.
we'll keep flying around Seattle until I crash somewhere. No, I'm just kidding. We'll never crash. What is that building? That's weird. Look at that. What is that thing?
oh,
that really
that's the
pointy one?
EMP.
Oh.
That's the oh gosh, no, it's called the MoPop now. It's the Museum of Pop Culture.
Ooh.
So yeah, it looks like your
Looks like
computer
a
just went crazy, but it is just genuinely a crazy looking building.
I want one of those.
This
It
area's
is-
pretty nice.
It
Where-
is cool.
Boston's Museum of Pop Culture.
We have the ICA.
Yes,
Talk about
that's contemporary art.
That's all we've got. That's cool. Everything else is old.
You're over Queen Anne right now.
Oh, good. Oh, this bridge is going to be rough. So this is Queen Anne.
Yep, you're flying over Queen Anne. You're heading towards Fremont.
Okay.
It's close
You
to
are-
where you.
You're the only guest that has accurately been telling us where we are when we've been flying around these episodes. No one else can tell us anything.
You ever been to Seattle, Lexi?
I've not.
No.
It's all too terrible.
Lexi flies.
Wow.
I follow her Instagram. I see her in all kinds of places, so I just kind of assumed maybe she'd been to Seattle.
I want
Honestly,
to.
I'm really impressed by this. This is just like you're going up the 99. This is Aurora.
Oh, yeah, this
Like,
was
I'm
the
not
plan
talking
all
about
along.
games, just this game.
The more
Should we
impressed
go fly over
you are,
Annie's house? Oh, sorry.
Well, her house is in this game, but I don't know if she wants to reveal.
No,
it.
we can't, because you could actually literally reveal her house right now.
What's your address? Can you tell us real quick?
I'm in the safety of an apartment. You can't find me.
Let's go find her now. I see one
Well-
over there.
Maybe I'm wrong about this, but Guild Wars fans seem a little bit more chill than some other MMOs. You might be safe.
Yeah, I have to say it's really nice to be. Well, it's nice to be working on the game again. I always really connect and really like the setting, and I really do think that the Guild Wars 2 community is like the friendliest. The really kind of
Super
like
friendly.
bowls me over. Yeah, incredibly friendly, incredibly outgoing and giving, and very nice. I think it's the community shapes the game, and the game shapes the community, and trying to have the idea of like no griefing, and you're incentivized to help one another. I think that helps with that, but it also is just everybody in there is super really nice.
I feel like your game is largely known for having ethical business models where that's not the expectation, and I wonder if that helps with people's general attitude while playing it.
I hope that it does. I mean, as a designer, when we were talking about stuff like the gem store, I have to admit, in the early stages of it, I had a lot of trepidation because
Right.
it was the first time in my career I was dealing with stuff like microtransactions, and I wanted to make sure
You did it right.
It was being done in a way I was straight up not uncomfortable with.
Well, I bought stuff from it, so you did something right, because I never buy stuff from the gem
It
store.
never bothered me.
And it's actually, well, it's. I was really impressed by it because the credo was basically, we will never ever make anything that's pay to win. It is always going to be about appearance or convenience.
And we paid for the convenience for sure, because you definitely need more bank slots.
Yeah.
I paid for the. Not gonna lie.
What'd you pay for, Lexi?
The outfits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Well, I don't know how many people really know the ethic. Like, Glenn, when you say that translates to the people, because I feel like there must be something in the game that attracts. I dare I say older. I mean, I'm 39, and I've met a lot of people from all ages. I guess they were more mature. I mean,
well, if we travel all the way back, I mean, we're talking about the first Guild Wars being buy once, play for as long as you want, and that's at a time when people are having a hard time paying $15 a month for an MMO. So, I mean, if you're talking about like the original core audience that has stuck with it all this time, that was unheard of, really, among the genre. The fact that you could just, drop a bit, whatever it was, $40, $30.
Yeah, that really cleared a big barrier to entry for me because I was never into that whole pay $14 whatever dollars for to play
the WoW model.
Yeah, well, I was fine with it, but it's like I was already doing it with one MMO. How am I going to do it with a second one? Then I'm paying $30 a month.
So are you saying poor people like us are just nicer in general?
Well, I'm saying
hot take.
When games are $15 a month and you're already playing World of Warcraft, get me to play something else is a little bit harder when it's under that same business model, because it's almost like having too many streaming and cable services at once. It's like you don't really pay attention to it, and then suddenly you realize you've got this monthly bill from all of these different games that you're playing, whereas you didn't have to worry about any of that with Guild Wars. But the reason why I brought up the people's general laid-back attitude when it comes to Guild Wars is because I feel like a lot of games that are free, and maybe the MMO genre is mostly spared from this. I'm not sure what the landscape's like, but it seems like when a lot of games go free, or when they're super cheap, like they're on sale for $1 frequently or something like that, and they get super popular, then like the toxic community starts flooding in, and the whole nature of things changes. And then
Oh, so you're saying it's surprising to see Guild Wars still retain a good community overall?
Well, I wouldn't say surprising, because it feels right for Guild Wars that it hasn't devolved in that way. But it's impressive that it.
Yeah, it's a testament to the game, I think, because well, you could. I think when you bring in an aspect of more competition, there's going to be more people taking advantage of that and griefing. I also think that there's a testament to Guild Wars that there's not hack. I don't think there's really hacking, although I feel like MMOs, for some reason, don't have a lot of hacking, and for some reason, other games can solve that problem.
I think largely that has to do with, I think that, there's the fact that as I mentioned, the game, built from the ground up with this, like, no griefing, we want players to help each other kind of mentality, but also, we have a really, really, dedicated community team, because a lot of times, like, a game can have all these best intentions and be very welcoming and have these things built in, but yeah, a slide toward toxicity can happen unless you have a like dedicated group moderating things and curating the community to just sort of not to like shut everybody down or anything like that, but to have a sort of situation in which obvious negativity can get shut down and like things can sort of move on a positive path. And also there's an assurance, not that everybody has to be nice or whatever, but if people throw out constructive criticism, that it is going to get back to the developers, and that they see evidence of it being listened to, and that does happen. To not sort of be like, oh yeah, 100% that happens. It's also something where the interaction of developers with players is something that's accessible, but like curated, I guess, a little bit, so you don't have a sort of situation where somebody leaps out and goes like, yeah, we'll totally do that, and gets a dev could come in there with best intentions, like, oh, I'm totally gonna make this happen, but the game is really massive, and fans might get let down by that. But it's also a sort of situation in which things that we see popping up again and again as an ask or as a problem, that gets back to us, and we decide to take action against something that's like
you guys are responsive. I guess I think, and I don't know if you agree with this, Glenn, but I think a lot of the griefing, and it happens in the PvP really, and you do get that in Guild Wars 2 still too. You're going to get that everywhere where there's going to be that type of edge.
What's the deal with PvE and PvP servers?
I was going to say, I think that's definitely where that line comes, because people can get pretty. There's more like, I guess, competitiveness in PvP, so it kind of can bring out more volatile parts of people's personalities in comparison to the PvE.
People.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't think the people who were ganking me in World of Warcraft were getting any kind of prestige for it. They were
getting pleasure out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. They were just being thirsty.
And
they get the point of it. World of Warcraft. Honestly,
isn't that good? Don't you want that though, so they don't go out and do it in the real world?
Well, yeah. From that standpoint, if they're getting out their frustrations on a video game, sure, it's at the cost of my enjoyment, but so be it.
Leah, are you saying it's like the Purge?
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of the Purge movies, and I'm messed up.
Oh no.
It's funny because I used to think that was kind of so far-fetched in fantasy, and oh my god, how crazy is that? And now I'm watching them again, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't seem that far from reality.
Yeah.
This is gonna get into more of a social commentary. So Leah, we're gonna save that for episode 7.
Well, I was gonna ask Annie, have you ever seen the movie, or have any of you ever seen the movie Grandma's Boy?
Yeah.
I get asked that a lot. I have actually not
Is
seen
it like that?
I'm just gonna say no. I'm just gonna straight up say no.
I'm gonna assume no.
If you wanna, if you wanna see what, like game development in the community and what it's like, it used to be, I would say, even like 7 years ago, really, really hard to get any sort of like look at how things are and how things get made. You got the occasional behind the scenes kind of looking stuff, like Ratchet and Clank or something had like behind the scenes stuff that I was a super fan of, or if as indie gaming became a bigger thing and Kickstarter and developers started putting their own stuff out there, you got to see more of that. But then you started to get things like 2-player productions and definitely no clip, showing actual development and getting embedded with developers on this much larger and much more involved of a scale. Check that out. Like those are the people who are really showing.
It used to be the only time. it used to be the only time you saw stuff like that was actually in like trailers. They would produce special trailers that felt kind of like documentaries in a way, where the trailer's like 5 minutes long, and you're like, why is this so long? That's because you get a little bit of a peek behind the curtains, and there was always a hunger for that. So it felt unique when it was a marketing tactic, and now you have all these resources out there to be able to learn more.
I think there's been this weird kind of evolution in that too. Like in the early 90s, as like certain elements of gaming were really ramping up, there was this desire of the like developer as rock star kind of mentality that was just that was not good. It did not it didn't work out well for a lot of reasons, and it's kind of cringeworthy to go back and look at.
John Romero's going to make me his what?
Yeah, that exactly. And I think that elements of the sort of auteur kind of thing of like, oh, this person made this game, has like, not to name any names or something, but I know of certain situations in which the like name behind it is only a small part of it. They get like hailed as the idea person,
Right.
and the rank and file, or even like large names behind things don't get any credit for it.
Do you feel that people who are more recognizable names out there are being brought onto projects for PR reasons as much as to contribute? Like, does anybody feel when they're working on a project that they're not doing the job they thought they were doing because it's really their name that's being purchased there in a way?
I actually don't think as much anymore. I think that is also an era that's kind of died down.
I think people recognize when you have, it's the ex Diablo team making this new game, and then it fails or it's okay, and then you have those high expectations. I think people let go of those expectations a bit nowadays.
Yeah, I think that people will follow names, but I think it's because of like actually seeing some of the stuff that they've worked on, and definitely not to this sort of auteur degree that they did before. They're
not singled out anymore. Like there's a team now.
They're not like, oh, Kojima made this whole thing himself.
Right.
Or like Ken Levine totally made every single thing having to do, with BioShock. Things like that.
Because if you look at them doing games now, and I don't know where Ken is now, and no disrespect to him, but I feel like it's the team behind them that made some of those games so magical.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it was also a sort of situation where not to be like, well, Insomniac, but I know, like mentioning before about the I'll take issue with Molyneux. I think that he had a lot of ideas, but I mean, it's been documented enough. I'm not like breaking open this new can of worms. I mean, it has been documented by people at Lionhead that he would just get really excited talking to the press and go out there and like mention something that was getting worked on as like, this is a fact, it's going to be in the game. Yeah. And then the rest of the team was like, well, damn it. This needs to be a thing now. It's been promised. And I think
sorry, go on.
I was going to say that a lot of the changing nature about how ouch, sorry, my cat is being a jerk. How games are sort of getting looked at now is because there is I would say a evolving understanding, a better understanding of how they're made, and that used to be, I think, a big problem before that let people go, oh yeah, no, it's just this one person doing it, or it's this person's fault or whatnot. Now it's like, oh no, I know a little bit more about what a game designer does because I've heard people talk about it in this particular way.
Is it partially though because now it's gotten to the point with technology and coding and everything that now it's just these massive efforts and everything's been, a lot of the stuff has already been built? Because back in the day, I watch a lot of Ars Technica YouTube episodes of people developers back in the day doing it from scratch, Prince of Persia, being super innovative and having to do it all by themselves. Now you have a lot of the stuff which does it just require manpower, but I just want to preface that saying that I was amazed by Guild Wars to artistic style. So someone had to create that, unless that was a huge team effort. Whoever came up with those ideas were
who was the
geniuses.
character designer on that?
Oh yeah,
There were a bunch. It was absolutely. I mean, like Guild Wars 2 is a massive game. There's a very large team behind it. I think at its max when I was there is about 150 people. I mean, like, it's a sort of weird kind of situation where, like, you can have a really big section of the team working on something, and then you can have, like, a really small group working on something. Like, on a team that big, the personal story team that I was on was 6 designers, myself included, an embedded QA, and 2 writers. That was the whole personal story was done by us, but it was also a thing where we had art assets coming in that were getting made for like the events team in the world, and I was lucky enough to be able to work with internal, like all of our tools too are internal. That means that they're made by ArenaNet and it's all like self-contained. When I was at System Era, we were working with Unreal 4, and I think you make a really great point though in terms of like accessibility, because like if you wanted to, you could just download your own copy of Unreal 4. You could grab a copy of Unity. You could like mess around in Twine. Like there's all these tools that are accessible. Like my advice to somebody who wanted to get in the game industry like a dozen years ago was like, well, try to find a mod team and or try to get into the industry as QA. And you know, it was a much more kind of roundabout process that required a lot of coordination, and now it's like, oh, just grab Unreal 4 and start dinking with it. If you want to make a game, you can make one right now. Like there's theoretically, if you have a computer that's even halfway decent, or even just for Twine access to a browser, like it's right there. Just like pick your poison, get started working on something. And so I think that kind of accessibility has also made people realize, oh crap, this is hard, or oh, this is more complicated than I thought, and you fall down the sort of ideally rabbit hole of like realizing how things can become simpler, can become more complicated, and like you get a better understanding of it. I mean, there's always going to be armchair development of like, why is multiplayer so hard? I could add it in a weekend. Like, one, no, you couldn't. 2, there isn't a create game button.
Well, I guess I was always amazed by netcode and the early, like how to make multiplayer. That's, if regular people understood how that was made, I think that'd blow their mind how complicated it is to have a bullet trajectory from another player, have to, match up over the internet and have it all sync up together. Yeah. But
I'm kind of new to that world because I'm a single player primarily and have been. For issues like griefing and things like that, I've just found myself getting away from the whole multiplayer scene. But with the pandemic being what it is, I've now, just to have social connections with people, started looking into co-op games, which we did our first episode about. And so many co-op games get the poor netcode complaint. And I'm wondering if maybe my prejudgment of things like Google Stadia was kind of backwards, because if the alternative is these multiplayer systems that disconnect and crash and such, then maybe streaming from a single instance of a game is the way to go. Do you think? Or like,
hold on, I haven't actually heard your opinion on
because like Stadia is a subscription service that you pay for, but as of like late last year, I think like October, November, Steam has their remote play together, so that you can play. I mean, you can also do local co-op games, not just online co-op games, but if one person owns the game, and through Steam they can invite another player to play the game, and people are saying that it works pretty well. So maybe joining an online server in the near future won't be the ideal way to play an online game. Certain online games, MMOs are different.
Different beast.
It's really tough. Like I don't want to start a situation where I'm like talking out my own ass on this one. I'm like, I am a designer, which means I don't speak the machine tongue, as I put the programmers do. But like, it's something that is continually evolving. I think looking back on the history of trying to stream games and like Stadia has a ton of predecessors that are gone now, but were really interesting ideas. And there's questions of like infrastructure, like actual accessibility that people have to high-speed internet and power of machines and so on and so forth. Like there's so much to consider that's outside of the realm of just like the immediacy of your project making one thing work. That's really staggering. That requires such. I mean, it's a massive investment too. I mean, like it's why you see, the people getting involved in this are like Google and Microsoft and so on. Like you gotta have a huge budget to jump into something like that, and you also need to. You're counting on you can't just have like one major hit. You have to know that this is going to work for a lot of different things.
Well, even just talking about online co-op, I think the reason why, like my assumption was the reason why so many games were couch co-op only was because of a purist point of view. Like they would want you to play with a friend on a couch together and not fall into this everybody's on their own computer disconnected from life outside their apartment type deal. But now I'm starting to hear a little bit more about how it's really financial, right? Like being able to afford to do online co-op in games is a barrier that indies cannot always afford. They almost need to be a hit before they can even start thinking about that.
I think that's part of it. I actually for certain games, at least at a certain stage, it's hard to do couch co-op because how do you make that read? Like, how does it play? Is it like Diablo where it's one person is basically controlling the sort of movement of the screen and everybody else is kind of constrained to that, which works for a kind of isometric perspective? Do you do like split screen for a kind of thing? And it's also, if you do split screen, if you and I are playing at the same time, we're running in different directions, that's twice the amount of things that the game has to render. It's twice as hard. And if you try to put that to like 4-player, it is a lot harder. And so you
gotta be creative, make it conducive to co-op. It's a particular segment that used to be more popular until everyone figured out that it was the internet and you could play with other people.
I mean, certain games are. I think that just the style of gameplay is best done with somebody sitting next to you, like Children of Morta, or I can't imagine doing like Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time without people right next to you. It feels like that's the point. I mean, it becomes a sort of not aesthetic choice, but like a gameplay choice, a design choice, rather than like a convenience choice. And thinking that, it's something that's complicated. It's not just sort of like, well, we decided to have couch co-op versus having online co-op. Like, stuff needs to get built in that direction, like pretty immediately.
Yeah, you got to really make it for that. If that's, there's.
Yeah, you can't just throw it in half-hearted at the end.
Well, that's what modders are doing. they're trying to wedge online play into single-player games, which is kind of weird because, like, when I'm looking for online co-op games to play with others during this isolation phase of society that we are currently in, I see it being added to some games where I think, oh God, they're not going to play it for the first time like that, are they?
Yeah.
You would lose so much.
I think the modders look for things that they see there's a need for it. Like you said, American Truck or Euro Truck Simulator obviously would be a perfect game to have other people join you. And they just saw the developers for some reason not doing it, and then somehow but I think the developers signed off on that anyway or something. But I think they just find the
one I think is endorsed.
Yeah, and I think it's like with anything, the modders they create the innovative ideas like DayZ, which then they somehow manage to butcher after that. But they find a need. It's like, oh, I want to really do this. That's now you can do it. I mean, but that's been happening since the beginning of time with modders and level designers and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a sort of situation where modding is still, it's still a really cool, interesting thing, and I think it's always going to be that because they don't have to worry, in modding, you don't have to go, well, I have to build out this entire game and think about all these different aspects. Like, you don't need to have the, like, 10,000 foot view on things. You can just be like, I want other people involved in this, or like, I want to make the textures a lot better, or I want to, you know, optimize this. They can focus on one thing or a handful of things and just drill down on that, and everything else essentially, it should work like it already does.
Right.
Now, if only mod teams did that.
There's also the, you know, there's the crisis of ambition and everything. Well, we could do this, but well, let's do that. And like,
they did that with Skyrim.
Feature creep.
But let's talk about a game that's the king of mods, not Guild Wars. Somehow, that is definitely... MMOs don't typically get outside community things, right? Well, actually, I should say... with
interface stuff, right?
They do the what?
User interface stuff?
Right, I was going to
Yeah.
say, yeah.
Yeah, UI stuff is interesting. Actually, back in the day, I did play WoW, and I had UI add-ons
Everywhere.
in NA. And yeah, and
Your whole
seeing
screen
how-
was icons. You just didn't
like,
see the game
I had
anymore.
Monkey Speed and Monkey Quest and all these different, like, because I'd find like a favored UI like modder who would put out like a total package or something and be like, okay, I want these things, and it was really accessible. And I mean, other developers were watching that, were seeing what worked, and how things sort of tended to gel in a certain way, and also you're getting like good user research teams going, and games are getting studied more, and we're learning more about the actual nature of play, which goes back into how things are made. Like, I actually remember something really early on in the development of Guild Wars 2 where we were actually looking at the health bar and things like that, and somebody was like, well, I kind of want to, let's make it green. We're trying to differentiate, you know, colors and the layout and such. And there was a play test, and a ton of feedback came in of like, what happened? Why am I poisoned the whole time? Like, people saw the green and read it as, oh, I'm poisoned. It's the same sort of reasoning why people are like, oh, if there's a red bale, that sucker explodes. It's not just red, it's gonna go boom. Like, there's a psychology behind it. And picking up stuff like that is interesting. And I think having sort of opening up that little slice into things with the modding community, like messing around with UI and seeing what people do with it, I think that's advantageous for all parties.
On the usability testing thing, I mean, you formerly worked for Obsidian Entertainment.
I did.
And it sounds like their acquisition by Microsoft has been beneficial to them primarily for that reason, the usability testing.
Oh, yeah.
I've been helping them out more than they ever imagined.
I imagine. I mean, like, when you have access to a supplemental like testing group, like I will always argue for in-house testers being necessary, and like the more you have testers embedded into your teams, the better product that you get, and it's also a great way to have, you know, an actual upward path for people in your company to go from testing into other departments, or even just like stay as a tester and focus their skills, because like QA leads are rare as hen's teeth and masters of their craft. Like, anybody who talks shit, so to speak, on QA, I have a major issue with, because I do not know what they're talking about. But yeah, testing is fantastic. It works really great on a lot of different levels, and the more you get about it, the better it is. It's not always a guarantee, because sometimes when you have external testing, they don't have access to the same tools as internal testers. Like, internal testers will be in on the email chain or the meeting or whatever that says, oh, we made this design decision and things work this way going forward, that like an external one won't. And so all of a sudden you'll get this sort of like influx of bugs that are like, well, no, we made this choice that it's supposed to work like this now. But on the whole, it's always a positive thing. And I can imagine for something as vast and complex as RPGs are, holy God, yeah, throw warm bodies to that. have them run through everything because there's so much damn content in RPGs. Like, oh
I
god.
actually really like that point because I think it's so true that like when you have them on the team with you, they also like I think feel the spirit of the game from the ground up in a way that you can't replace. Not that I'm saying that having the third party is bad because it's definitely not. You're right. Like the more the merrier in this instance. But I also think like you just feel it and you know what everybody's trying to do and you can see the vision a little clearer.
Well,
Yeah.
the stand-up meetings for Marvel Puzzle Quest when I was working QA on that used to happen right behind my desk. So it was nice to have that daily update that wasn't meant for me, but I was there anyway. Just had to be quiet for like 15
Did they
minutes.
just forget to close the door?
It was an open office.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Everything's open office these days. Although that might change.
Yeah, I'm sure that's changed now.
Oh, I hope so.
There must be
I don't
so many
understand.
studios right now, like that just renovated to open office that now have to renovate to being a closed off space with cubicles and things.
Yeah.
That's like my office. It's all open. And I remember we moved about a year and a half ago and we were having kind of like a feedback session and people were asking for why they thought open office was bad. And I raised my hand because I'm a little OCD and I raised my hand saying, sickness spreads more quickly.
Yeah.
And they all laughed at me. And now look where we are.
Yeah, that was the common complaint about open office, and I will say that people got sick all the time. So I mean, whether that's the open office's fault or not is questionable, but I mean the pattern was there.
I mean, when we say open office, do we consider, the cubicles pretty much all lowered? You can see everyone, or, some barriers? You're just saying, yeah, totally open. Yeah, screw that.
Yeah, we were just desks. There were no
Wow.
barriers at all.
Yeah.
I've never been fond of that like Silicon Valley hipster look and feel, which is basically just you ran out of funding money and you didn't really know where to put your headquarters, so you didn't build a ceiling kind of thing.
You just didn't put chairs.
Yeah, it just like launched itself, and I absolutely have despised it since it started. And like nobody understood why I hated it so much. And then finally, I was like, well, first of all, it was all like men, no offense, and we were walking in a building, and it was like that, that cool concrete-esque vibe, and nobody was talking. And I was like, listen, you can't wear heels in this building. Like, you sound like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, like walking around here. It's your feet, just like everybody looks at you when you walk in like any direction. And then everybody was like, oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. I'm like, yeah, of course you did. But anyway, I could go on.
What if you want to play basketball? You're going to go to another location and play basketball? Where's the sense
or
of
the ping pong,
do it right in the office?
Gotta all be there.
Yeah, it's interesting what you said about it being quiet because
I have noticed that they always end up like pin quiet.
well, the people who are working at an open office company generally need to focus on what they're doing, so everyone's got headphones on. So you're encouraged to go be in this open office environment and go around and chat to people and everything.
You're supposed to collaborate,
when
but
you
everybody
feel the
just
vibe of the room, you're like, I'm not talking to anybody because I'm going to be interjecting, right? Whatever they're up to right now.
right, or like you're actually like discussing something, and then you feel bad because you're basically just distracting everyone next to you, even though
who
you
doesn't
aren't.
need to hear it?
Yeah, and you're
Right.
just pulling them out of there.
This is a beautiful sunset. I think this is the first sunset I've seen in this game.
Oh, yeah. So, as your
Where's Seattle? What happened to Seattle?
Well, we're probably... Well, I don't know where we are, but as your captain speaking, there should be a runway underneath us, and I just see houses, so it might just be that road down there. Yeah, we'll find out.
Concerning.
Wait, I think I see it.
Yeah, that might be
The
it.
lights are coming on.
Looks like that's it.
Like the house
Yeah, I'm
light.
like, I have no idea whereabouts you are currently.
This happens to me a lot when we're recording these. Is I'll stop really paying attention to what's happening in front of me because the conversation gets good,
How
and
dare
then I
you?
realize we're in.
I'm
middle of
important
nowhere.
too, Glenn.
Oh, is that
Where did-
Payne Field? Because you've been going north?
Let's see here. Wait, where am I? I don't know where I am right now.
Geography?
I just see planes.
Wait,
I don't know what plane is yours.
This is my plane. Look that up on Google there.
Okay, I have no idea.
We're to the east, I guess. Let's say east, northeast.
Come on the podcast more often, you'll start dreaming about planes.
That's right. You'll yeah, I mean, we've ended up in Kentucky at some point, and we're just like, how did we get here? But that's fine.
And how's the fuel situation?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Well, we typically do these podcasts for about an hour because I don't want to sit in front of my computer all day long rendering. No, they've been about an hour, and we're about that time. And fuel situation is good because the last plane we picked was the problem. We picked the Toys R Us plane. That was the issue.
So how realistic is this from like a speed perspective? Like,
It's
if you wanted to fly from Seattle to like San Francisco in this flight simulator, would it be the exact same as if you'd actually done it?
Yes. I hesitate because there's a more realistic flight simulator out there, and that one's definitely exact. But this game has so many bugs, and I've just been playing it on these podcasts for about a week. I want to tell you that it should be accurate.
So there's no way to try to make it as accurate as possible. That is kind of
There's settings, right? So like if you want to speed things up, you can.
Yeah, the settings.
Extensively.
I mean, I think my friend Colin asked me, did you ever, like, what's the longest flight? And I think a long time ago I probably did, like, Boston to London, 6 hours in front of my computer. You could, they're real time for the most part.
Holy cow.
Yeah, make sure you're going in the direction of Yemen because
Yeah, I didn't know.
that's where Annie wants to go.
I think one.
Socotra.
Yeah, I know that's the other location we can do next time, but we'll probably take an airline one of these episodes.
Well, that's how we lure Annie into doing another one of these. But Annie, Socotra.
Well, I do want to talk more Guild Wars at another point, but I just want to say that I'm a huge.
That'll be a recurring topic on this thing.
It'll probably Leah and I played it since the beginning, and Leah started playing, and she really loves it. And I'm a huge fan, and I sometimes get into arguments with people saying they don't like it for certain reasons, and I understand a lot of the reasons, but I just think the game was so well made, and so many features made it like fun and accessible, and brought a very good community to it, and also the graphics style is really cool.
Oh yeah, I wanted to say that in the beginning, but I went to art school stupidly and was a studio art designer, and I like opened up this game and was so blown away by the art. I that's one of the reasons why I love it so much.
Oh, I'm the exact same way. When I saw that they put concept art in their loading screens, I was like, that is just amazing.
Everything about it, just the landscapes.
Yeah, and the fact that they do the vistas at all, they're my favorite thing to do on the map. And my friends are always like, can we go, kill the boss now? And I'm like, no, I want to go see what we're looking at here. Like, give me some time to appreciate this view.
That's how I play MMOs. I like the horizon and the exploration element of it.
Yeah, very chill experience. But Glenn, I'm surprised. I mean, have you played more MMOs? Like you were saying, we're all kind of in our house alone. Like I remember playing a lot of WoW when I was alone in Western Mass and just feeling like I don't know if that's a sign of depression or what, but it definitely kept me company.
It's kind of a chicken and egg situation, isn't it? When it comes to WoW.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said WoW, but MMOs.
I don't hear good things about World of Warcraft. I never played it, but it seems like it's a little addictive or something.
I tried so hard to get into it. My whole company got super excited for Classic, and we had like the sales team pitched against the engineers. Like one wanted to be Horde, the other one wanted to be Alliance, and everybody was going to kill each other. I really wanted to get involved for the whole team spirit, and then I turned it on. I was like, first of all, this looks terrible, and second of all, I'm paying $14 for it, and third, like, what are these characters? And why is this UI so bad?
All right.
Honestly, I think it was the UI that killed me. But people are all like, no, that's the whole theme of WoW is you get your own, as you said, like you pick a mod you really like and then you go with that.
Yeah.
Are you now on the road? Sorry.
I just figured to tour around the town here for a second.
This is illegal. I don't think this is legal.
This is totally legal.
We were on a
Are you
crowded
still
highway
taxing?
at one point.
I'm still taxiing through the town, right? Oh, there's a car there.
Oh,
I don't think he's... No, we're good.
minivan.
Yeah, that's
It's so
nice.
beautiful, the sunset.
Yeah, it's nice.
I mean, tell me about it. I've always wanted to drive a plane just through my neighborhood and just, it gets a little rocky sometimes, but
I mean, it looks really nice though.
yeah,
Like
it's
the
nice and
details in
peaceful.
the houses are pretty decent.
And that's
It's a-
Annie's house right up ahead, right?
No, this is out in the middle of nowhere, and I don't know why these people live out here, but it seems
These
like
are
a
real
nice area.
people's houses.
These are
Yes.
definitely real people's houses.
Yes, and if anyone's been banned from Guild Wars, okay, Annie's the red one on the left here. So
Oh
you
my
can
god.
go find her and speak your grievance.
I'll just leave my plane here. Thanks. Just parking it. Who needs a
Yeah.
hanger?
Let's just park it right here, right here, right in the backyard there. I think we're good there. Okay.
Let's look out the kitchen
Yeah.
window. Yep, plane's still there. Is there a tarp over it?
So you
Well-
want
Who would steal it?
Sorry, what were you saying, Glenn?
well after a discussion of Guild Wars 2, and I hope it is not the last, I will tease that our next episode, I believe, is going to be Elizabethan religion and the occult.
Do I have to be on that one?
This is
I was just kidding.
Wow, that's heavy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
way to spring that on a Saturday afternoon there, Glenn.
it is going to be Saturday early evening is when we're going to record that one, and we've got someone who's going to be talking about like alchemy and the Freemasons and
Okay.
Oh my.
That sounds
we don't
interesting.
usually do this kind of thing, but it's going to be an interesting one.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'll prepare my absinthe. Let me make sure I remember the names from the beginning of this episode. Leah, right?
Yes.
Okay. Annie, Lexi. That was an enjoyable conversation, and yeah, we hope to have you on again to talk definitely more Guild Wars and other stuff. It sounds like we need a whole episode on game development and design, which I'm definitely interested in.
Well, I'll say I just absorbed so much and learned so much, so thank you, because that was great for me.
Absolutely my pleasure. I will yammer on about that for ages, as I'm sure you all have experienced.
Yeah, no, that was good. Glenn, any final last words here?
No, those were it. Those were the last words. I wanted everybody to know that this next one's going to be an interesting one too.
Yeah. But
We're going off the beaten path here with I think going over London and talking about some pretty
Really keeping you with that aesthetic back, huh?
into the what?
aesthetic.
I'm just
Doing like a cult and Elizabeth. What'd you say, Elizabeth?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to this guy who we're going to have on, and it sounds like he's going to be talking about like the Elizabethan era and how it led into certain areas of the occult and alchemy, and there's some people. I'm just wondering where this guy's going to go with this, right? Because
I think he's gonna go to Assassin's Creed probably.
this could be like a history lesson flying over London and
Nice.
learning about various things, or this could get into some Illuminati territory. I don't know where this is going to go.
Ooh.
Exciting.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm just staring at this car like melting into the grass, probably because Bing Maps is terrible. Okay. Well, Annie, Lexi, thank you so much. Leah, thank you again. And
That used to be a 3D model. You landed on top of it.
I did flatten it. The Ratchet and Clank stuff there. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks everyone so much.
thank you. And thank you for the Friendly Skies. Have a good night.
Friendly skies.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.